certain things that are exempt, so,
If you get closer to the microphone,
Yeah,
please.
there, you can't hear yet.
so there's certain things that are exempt, like, the steeple. There's other things that the zoning resolution allows, with conditional use, they're exempt from zoning. Now, the building height, it has a 35-foot mean roof height, period, that's it. So, and they said they would comply with the requirements. Some of the other specific criteria have to do with the appearance of the building, so they have to be, similar to residential in nature. So if they were to use brick and stone, that's one thing. If they were to come in with a, let's say a metal pole building, that would not match the character of the neighborhood, so that would be denied by staff. So there's a lot of things that staff's gonna look at, if it gets approved, doesn't meet those criteria, and our code tells me what to look for.
Did you look at any alternative uses of the property?
We've reached out to some home builders, a couple of them have come back and told us that, the current zoning allows for single-family, residential, and they believe that with the, line of sight, with the noise coming off the highway, given today's construction costs, they believe that, that they would have to be in that $750,000 and up price range,
Well, you tore down,
Houses across the street.
did you tear down 3 houses? There's still one left, that you're gonna tear that one down as well?
I believe so, yes.
So there were like 3 or 4 houses you tore
Yes,
down
correct.
to develop the site?
Right.
And what did you pay for the site?
Too much. I don't recall off the top of my head, but certainly in excess of $1.5 million.
How many houses could you build there if that was a plan, a possibility?
Single-family houses, looks like 8 or 9.
So you could build 8 or 9 $750,000 house, but then you'd have to price up.
That's the rub.
Okay, all right, I'll talk with you again.
If anyone else has any more questions, we'll make the presentation and I'm open to questions at any time. Thank you.
What happened to the property tax that we were gonna get from your original proposal? I think that disappeared, didn't it?
1 second, you have, everyone
How
will have,
close are you to the?
Excuse me,
to
sir.
the tri-state?
excuse me, everybody will have a chance to talk,
Oh, that's-
but not if you have to have an outburst.
I'm sorry. All right, I'll wait.
I'm Randy Merrill, I'm the architect with McGill-Smith Punchkin. The presentation is fairly brief. Harry's done a great job of defining and work with Harry to understand the conditional use issues. We tried very hard to meet every one of them. There was no question to how we were going to do that. The question comes up about the design of the building. Well, it's not, we're not ready for that yet. Because, like he said, in order to get a church here, they gotta know they can go here. Without the conditional use, there's a lot of time and effort wasted on the design of the building when it's not ready for that yet. In terms of the footprint that we've allowed, it's just that, it's a footprint. We know that we can be no more than, with a mean roof height of 35 feet. We know that we have to have setbacks, we know that we have to have buffer yards, parking criteria, all based on a 22,500 square foot footprint. That can be 2 stories, have a basement, have other things, but that footprint is what we're trying to get to. We'll design the building within that footprint.
So you're going to, assuming we hypothetically approve the plan, you're going to design the building sometime in the future?
Yes.
And I guess, so at this point, we, the board and the residents, we don't know exactly what this is gonna look like, do we?
No, you don't, we don't know what this will look like yet. Because again, every church has, like you said, every church has maybe different criteria. We're gonna design the building to meet your standards of your zoning, but it's gonna be contoured and characterized by what the church wants and something that will work for the community. In terms of landscaping, this thing's like a forest. If you look at the landscape plan, there's a lot of plants here, a lot of buffer. We made specific efforts to pull the parking away from the Kruger Mill as best we can. A lot of the trees that are and the right of way will stay. There's like 10 times as many trees in the new plan as there is existing.
Do you know how close your boundaries are to your closest neighbor?
In terms of, well, we have setbacks, we have
Yeah.
setbacks we have to conform with. If you look at the plans, we're 35 feet from the right of way along Cougar Mill. We're, I don't know what the side, I can't remember what the side yard setback is, but we're 35 feet from the south property, and we're probably about 20, maybe 15, 20 feet from the east, and the same to the west.
So you're not really impinging on someone's yard or what have you?
So just to give you some exact dimensions based off the layout submitted. So the side yard setback is 25 feet, rear yard setback is 41 feet. The front yard setback is 37 feet in addition to the 40-foot half right of way to the center line of Cougar Mill. So we would have 37 plus 40 plus whatever it is to the closest house on the other side of Cougar Mill. You're probably looking at a minimum of, I'm gonna say 150 to 200 feet to that closest residential property across Cougar Mill. Now to the east, you're probably looking at 150 feet to the closest residence, and that's buildings, not
Are you
property.
including my property?
So in terms of placement of the building, we have to conform the zone, is what we do. In every aspect of this, we have conformed or exceeded zoning criteria. So that's all we can do at this point. In terms of the building and how that's gonna be designed, that's gonna have to come when we get the right church that's gonna go here, and we'll design it accordingly. That's all I can really say at this point.
Okay, any other questions? Thank you very much.
That was too easy.
Does that conclude your,
It's not over.
does that conclude your comments from the applicant?
Unless people have questions, yes.
Okay, very good. Okay, so at this point, I'll ask if there's any public that would like to comment. I'm assuming a lot of you would. So if we go about this in an orderly fashion, if you have someone who is speaking for more than one of you, I'd appreciate hearing from them first. If there's somebody speaking for themselves, I'm gonna try to go in an orderly fashion from my left to right by row. So you've elected yourself to speak for me?
Yeah.
Very good, okay, that's it.
I'm president of the Sturbridge Homeowners
Mr.
Association.
Chair, can I interrupt just for a second?
Sorry.
Can everybody hear that okay? Because I've got volume
Your mic
here,
is not
but
very
I want
good.
everybody to
Your
hear.
mic is not good. Your mic is not good.
Are they okay?
Yes.
Yeah, but your mic is bad.
Karen, the other problem is someone has their phone, a GSM phone, near a microphone, and that's what that buzzing is that we keep hearing periodically. It would be helpful if everybody could see their phone move.
Okay, everybody grab your phone and move it.
If someone has a near
Away from the
microphone.
mic. Away from the mic.
All right, my name's Tom Brockman. I live at 8685 Sturbridge Drive.
And I assume I swore you in at the beginning?
Yes.
Thank you.
And I am the president of the Sturbridge Homeowners Association. So I represent 162 homes that range in value from the low fours to probably 550, 600,000. This development's right outside the back entrance to our subdivision. So we have 10 reasons why we think this should not be approved. It's way too massive in size and parking. Just because you buy 6 residential lots does not entitle you to build a project that hurts the adjoining properties and owners. And you can see conditional use considerations for that. There's a negative impact from the parking, traffic, and sheer size of this project. It's obvious that Tri-Health wants to use the parking, and this is an end run around to get that parking for their other development. As you can see by the 2 sidewalks that they have connecting the 2 parking lots. Why do they need to have that? What's that have to do with the church? The church brings in no tax revenue. New residential homes will enhance the neighborhood and generate real estate tax revenue for the township. does not comply with the spirit and intent of the zoning resolution. It does have an adverse effect on the adjacent property owners. Does not protect the public interest at all. It is not consistent with the adopted plan or land use plan, which I will address in a minute. The drawing is not complete. Many of the design elements are missing, so a complete analysis cannot be made at this point. Going back, if you look at your 2002 land use plan, chapter 2, South Sycamore, I refer you to page 2-21, planning sector map, section 5, Montgomery Road, North Sector. On page 2-4, in the text for sector 5, it reads, Montgomery Road North Sector contains the land surrounding but not including parcels along Montgomery Road, corridor 3, bordered by I-71 to the west, the city of Madeira to the south, the village of Indian Hill to the east, and Ronald Reagan to the north. The Montgomery Road North Sector contains varying densities of single-family residential dwellings and platted subdivisions. Because this sector does not contain any other use or vacant undeveloped land, the land use plan indicates that this area should remain as single-family detached residential dwellings. The only undeveloped land is there because the Kabickis, 5-Star Development, tore them down in 2018. That's the only reason there's those vacant lots. Otherwise, there were homes there and would have remained that way. Technically, a church is allowed in a residential district with a conditional use approval. We have a church now across the street that's been there since 2002. It was approved as a conditional use. It is very small by comparison to the one that they're wanting to build. The street frontage is only 174 compared to the Kabicki proposal, which will stretch 760 feet along Kugler Mill Road. The sheer size of the proposed church looks more like an office building with a large parking lot, not to mention the traffic from 166 parking spaces. So what is really going on? Look at the proposed drawing. Again, the sidewalks connecting the two lots. They're trying to get this building, this parking lot built, and that's mainly what it's all about, so that they can maybe then go build another building back that they already got turned down on. That's pretty much all that I have to say. Oh, one other thing. I want to make sure you all did get the letter from Peter Mallow. Just so you're aware of that one. I just want to make sure that's put into this hearing as an official document.
So I have a couple questions.
Do we have it, yes? A letter from Mr. Mel?
Yeah, we have.
You have,
You commented on two things about your property, the negative to the property and adverse effect on your property. What is that? What is?
Well, it's the connector street that connects the two subdivisions.
That's a negative effect on your property?
If
I
that's
just don't
built,
understand that.
If you build a big commercial building there, yeah, with traffic, those streets are calming streets. It's not made for all the traffic that a project like this is gonna generate.
It was a church, this isn't a project, it's a church, but I'm trying to understand.
Stop sign on the street.
I'm asking about the adverse effect on your property, I don't
Well,
understand it. I'm not trying to
kind of what we're
challenge
saying
you.
is,
You just said
the
you're.
two subdivisions, children and people walk between Heidmeyer and Sturbridge along Kugler Mill.
Okay.
If you're dumping 166 cars along there, do you want your kid walking along that street? Right now, it doesn't have that much traffic flow. It has gotten a lot more with all the development that's gone on out here in Sycamore Township. And they're supposed to be putting in sidewalks. We've been asking for them for how long now, Harry?
Well, remember, it's a county road.
Right.
We had everything done and engineered. We were gonna get county funding, and the county pulled out. So what we did, we got grants and funding to do the sidewalk. So we did everything we possibly could for a county road. paying for it, we've done the engineering, we're doing all the labor, and we'll probably do the majority of the cost, so, you know, you can't blame us when the
No,
quality
I'm not
goes
blaming
out,
you, but I'm
right?
saying, that's why, you know, we don't want a major development. I mean, it's encroaching into the subdivision. Once you let it occur on these lots here, how are you gonna stop it going down through Windmill Road? What's gonna be the stop? Keep that from going any further? Or you're changing the zoning?
Are we
It says in the,
We're not changing.
well, it
I'm
says in
misunderstanding.
2002.
Remember,
Right.
we're doing two things here. The BZA is here
Right.
for you. The
But
BZA is also
I'm
here
just
for
saying, in
other.
2002 plan
Excuse me,
says
let me
we should
explain.
stay.
Let me explain. BZA, because I want to help you.
Right.
Help me understand what's going on. We're here for you as property owners. That's what we are. We represent you as property owners. We represent them as property owners, okay? We have a community full of schools, churches, homes, everything else. I have them near me. I've gone to all of them. I've been in this community all my life. I've gone to all of them. I've walked all of them. Yes, things have changed, but I'm saying, I'm trying to understand that while they have given us a plan that is addressing every need that the resolution and our ordinances have asked for, now I'm trying to understand how that's affecting you by saying, just understanding how it affects your property. Because I want to understand that, so I can represent the decision we make in light of the
okay,
facts you're giving me,
you're-
rather than just saying
You're
emotionally.
going from residential and green area
Okay.
to a black asphalt front roadage front.
But I go to churches in my community, I think that's an important thing to do. I'm just trying to
I
understand.
agree with you,
why
I
the
don't have any
church-
trouble with churches that are, the one across the street.
Well, it may not be the
Which
church you're going to go to.
Sycamore Township was against building. That one was put through because Hamilton County was in charge of zoning out here at that point in time.
Right.
The trustees were totally against it. They thought the buffering was not near big enough. That church across the street has 25 parking slots behind it. This one wants 166. I think it's overkill. That's all I'm saying. I think it's overkill.
And once again, I just wanted to understand the negative effect on the property and the
Well,
adverse
I mean,
conditions
that-
And you've expressed walking that
Yeah,
street.
it's-
Sir, let him finish
Oh, okay.
talking before you,
She's just trying to record us.
I can't do two people.
Sorry.
No, you know, it's, kids go back and forth. They all go to the same schools, which is Indian Hill School District, which is what keeps our property values where they are. Again, and so the kids play, I mean, you know, and the way to get there, one way, Cougar Mill Road, unless you wanna run across 71. Subdivision is subdivision.
Yeah,
don't
and I
think
guess
that's
we've
very
heard from a
fun.
lot of different neighborhoods about churches and things. I wanna try to understand, because every
It's just
place,
that-
every place in Sycamore Township, the prices for our homes are appreciated everywhere. I mean, even in Dillonville and Deer Park and other areas that I lived in before, you know, that were there before I was born, which is a long time ago. So I'm thinking, you know, it's because of schools and churches and buildings that it does. So I'm just trying to understand the adverse effect on property, other than just saying it.
Well,
I'm trying to understand, because there hasn't been an adverse effect on property with schools and churches and other buildings like that going on.
depends on where you're building them. Again, this is in the dead of a residential area, not where it should be built. That's the thing, it's encroaching. Galbraith Road, down that way, you know, that's commercial and things of that nature. Now you're encroaching more and more in towards the subdivisions. The people right across the street, I guarantee you, don't wanna be looking at a big asphalt parking lot. I can't see where anybody would want that.
I mean, they just shoved 5 or 6 homes onto the corner of All Saints and Muller High School, so people could live near there. Those homes are terribly expensive, and they don't have room to even walk out their front door without falling on Montgomery Road. I'm just trying to understand adverse effect of property, because those were 2 of the 10 things you mentioned.
Right.
So, and
I just think it will affect the property values.
If I understand that, it helps me make a better
Because,
decision.
again, you can't, you know, when you're coming out that back entrance, I mean, if you got all that traffic, how you gonna get out? I mean, it's bad right now if you go at rush hour, because people don't wanna sit on Galbraith Road, they're now cutting through the cut-through street.
And the church is,
Well, it depends on what they do. Some of them have soup kitchens, some of them have all sorts of things that go on. You don't know what this one's gonna be. What is it gonna have? How can you make a decision when none of that's being spelled out? Is it gonna have clothing giveaway where the people come to get clothing and stuff? A lot of them do that. So how do you know what this one's gonna do? What's its operation gonna be? How's the traffic flow gonna be? You can't tell until you know who the tenant is. They're not willing to disclose that at this point. So, that's just kind of my opinion. And a lot of the homeowners in our subdivisions.
I appreciate you helping me understand. Thank you. You speaking for some others as well, or?
Yes, actually, Mr. Brockman's neighborhood asked me to add some points as well, and I'm
Very good.
speaking, I think, for parts of my neighborhood as well, which is Charter Oak.
Okay.
I'm Tom James, I live in the Charter Oak neighborhood at 5784 Whitechapel Drive. And Harry, I had given a flash drive to Jessica earlier. I've got some slides to put up also, if you can do that, please. Very good. All right. Let me address first what you were asking, Mr. Brockman, there, about the effect on property values. It's not just property values, it's quality of life as well, which is a major concern for all of us in these neighborhoods, which are all connected through Kugler Mill Road. And Kugler Mill Road is kind of a gem in some ways. If you're coming from I-71, you come up Montgomery Road, you hang a left on Kugler Mill Road, and until the little Tri-Health Medical Building went in there on the corner, it was really like a little bucolic slice where you suddenly felt like you were going down a country Kentucky road in some ways. With that building there, it's changed a little bit. But the concern a lot of us in the neighborhoods have is if this building goes in there, if anything that's not single-family residential or perhaps clustered residential, but residential for families residing in it, Kugler Mill Road is going to fall from 71 all the way down to Montgomery Road, on that side of the street at least, and then perhaps the other. When a domino falls, the rest are going to fall, like what happened with Galbraith Road over the last several decades as well, where it was residential, and then commercialism crept in and kept creeping in. The recent history of this property is interesting because it was up for a zone change from residential to commercial to aid in the expansion of the Tri-Health building next door, to put a second tower